Hi guys, it's Carlos the Ultimate Fitness Trainer once again, and thank you so much for watching the video. And today we're doing a video about a request I had from you guys, talking about haters, envy, jealousy and backstabbers. Now, with all the experience I've got in terms of coaching, psychology, training, and the fact that I've read 1,235 books so far, I'm going to try to condense all these subjects into one. I don't want to come across as some sort of like guru. I don't want to come across as some sort of guy that thinks he knows it all. I don't, okay? But I've got a little bit of experience in this sort of field. So I'm going to share what I think, and I'm going to share my experience and my road that's helping me become my greatest versions, and hopefully help you become your greatest version. So I've got 4 main subjects there, and I will start with a couple to start with, and I'll help you to try to understand why we human beings behave in this particular way when confronted with certain situations. So number 1 is hating. Okay, why do people hate you? Now, I've done a video about how to deal with haters. Now, hate is a strong word, very strong word. But if you think about it, the way we human beings have been made, okay, we've got several parts of our brain which are very primitive. Okay, now if you do your own research, you will actually find, and I don't want to kind of like go too much into this detail because it might bore a lot of people, but our brain stems from the actual monkey brain. Now what I mean by that is our reptilian brain, which is in the middle of your cranium, okay, right in the middle of your, if your head, okay, it's very, very primitive. Okay, very primitive. Now, I know all of you guys might think, oh, we've got iPhones and we've got this amazing technology, and I'm here basically doing this video with this camera, how amazing this can be, and it's all technology now, and nowadays, by the way, this is shit camera, I need to get a new one, but it does the job. But a lot of people think, you know, it's very a lot of technology, and this sometimes can overwhelm people. But what we tend to forget is our brain's still very, very primitive. So how can I link this into haters? Now, people that begin to hate you, by the way, we love haters anyway. Now, people that begin to hate you from a psychological point of view, 9 times out of 10 is people that fear you. Okay, now if you start getting fear stems from the fight or flight syndrome in your brain. So if you guys look at the brain from an anatomical point of view, the brain is divided by 2 sections, right? Now one particular section is the hippocampus and the amygdala. Okay, now if you go into the amygdala area, it's basically part of the brain that when it becomes rescientized, what I mean by that is, when it becomes very sensitive, almost like a paper cut. Okay, imagine like a paper cut. It can be very minimal, but it's kind of sore when you touch it. Now, that's the same thing happens to your brain. Now, what this, you may think, right, okay, how do I cut my brain, Carlos? What the fuck are you talking about? Now, what I mean by that is, your brain can get hurt to a degree of being around the wrong people, being around toxic environments, being around danger, being around, say, very stressful jobs, very stressful people. That can hurt your brain massively. Eating the wrong foods, that can do very, very much that, okay? Now, what happens to haters is they become very, very in survival mode. Now, what then tends to happen is they begin to fear anyone that potential can be dangerous to them. Okay, so if they are, for instance, say if they're better looking, if they're bigger, or they're smaller, or they do a better job than you, for instance, they are more successful, or the fact they've got more style, or the fact they've got a richer husband or a richer wife, or the fact that they can go on holiday more often than you, or whatever it could be. That's survival mode. So all of a sudden, our brains, which is a subconscious sort of, if you like, emotion without you. What I mean by that, I hope you guys understand what I mean in terms of subconscious. Now, your conscious brain, your subconscious brain are very aware of what you're doing. Now, your conscious brain takes about 10% of your daily activities. Your conscious brain takes 10% of your activities. 90% of what actually happens in the brain is all subconscious behavior. So a lot of subconscious behavior is all stems from, even I've said this to you guys before, it stems from the actual neuroplasticity, and that's another thing I'm going to talk to you guys about in a minute. And this is what happens to haters. What it is they begin to fear you. Okay, now when they begin to fear you, then that creates some sort of pattern in the brain. So if they think you're better, or if they think you potentially could be dangerous to them, they will. It's an animal instinct. Now, a lot of researchers have done this before, and they've studied animals, and now they behave to certain animals and even to their own inmates, and this is very, very true. It happens quite often. We do the same thing, very, very similar thing, but what we tend to do is, because obviously we are rational animals, we tend to behave in a particular completely different way. So we begin to hate people, so we begin to kind of like talk about them, and this is going to link into what I'm going to talk about anymore. We start talking bad about them, we start slagging them off, and we start hating these people, and all of a sudden this then links into what I'm going to say to you guys is the backstabbing. Now, the backstabbing stems from fear of that person's ability, that person's potential, and that person's capabilities to become better than you. So all of a sudden what we do as a subconscious behavior becomes almost like a conscious behavior. Okay, so what I mean by that is, you may think that person, look at her or look at him, he thinks he knows it all. I'll show him, because I fear him because or her. She's better than me, or potential. When I say she's better than you or he's better than you, for argument's sake, let's say she's better than you, for instance, as an example. That is very. It could be a massive argument. She might not even be better than you. It's just subconsciously you might be thinking that she potentially can either better than you or worse than you, but however in your brain you assimilate that as a danger. So what happens is then you start backstabbing that particular person. So what I mean by backstabbing is you start talking badly about that person. You'll make actually stories in your head, and this will be a subconscious behavior. You'll start making, this is self-talk, by the way, okay? A lot of backstabbing a lot of times before you even say it to anybody, because a lot of people think backstabbing is only when you say it. No, it doesn't. It actually starts, before you start backstabbing someone, you actually reminisce that in your brain. So what happens is this, you start talking to yourself, you start saying to yourself, fucking bitch, fucking this, fucking that, I don't like her because she's doing this, she's doing that, and all of a sudden you start voicing your opinion then to someone. And once you start voicing this opinion to someone, it then becomes vocal. And this then breeds bad vibes. And these bad vibes, a lot of the times, if you obviously attach yourself to someone that can bitch as well, you can imagine, I'm sure you guys probably think, bloody hell, Carlos, I've got a couple of those at work, or I've got a couple of those at home, or I've got a couple of those, or more than a couple, because a lot of people tend to do this. Because this is very animal, very, 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 it stems from the reptilia brain, which is a totally monkey brain, like very dangerous, very like, oh my god, someone's coming to get me. So for instance, let's say if there was a lion now after me, my reptilia brain would literally tell my muscles, Carlos, get the fuck out of there because he's coming for you. So I'd all of a sudden start sprinting my fucking legs off here and leave this fucking camera, and I'd start trying to run for my life. And that's what my reptilian brain will do. And this is the same thing when it comes to, you might think, bloody hell, what the fuck, Carlos? I'm telling you, study, do your own research, you'll see. Because this is all fight or flight sort of like subconscious behavior. Now, these backstabbers then, you probably think to yourself now, bloody hell, hold on a minute. So when these backstabbers exist, or start slagging me off, does that mean they are on survival mode? They're going to start running away? No, they're not going to start running away from you. But that behavior they're doing to you, or about anybody, or you might be the backstabber, in fact. You're doing it, you're doing unconsciously, subconsciously, behavior based on your thoughts. So all of a sudden you start doing things that you might not even realizing that you're doing. Okay? Now I'll give you an example. The other day I was in a situation where I experienced someone backstabbing someone else, and that person that was stabbing someone else is just basically, it's just fear. It's just complete fear. Now, obviously, because I know about psychology, nutrition, and supplementation, and loads of coaching and all that sort of stuff, I just kept my mouth shut, because a lot of the times I think to myself, let me just experience this. Let me just actually watch these guys backstabbing someone and see how far they go. How fearful are they based on their emotions? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And that is really what it is. But once you start understanding that, that's all it is, you actually behave better towards these people. And in fact, if you are the guys that actually backstab people, you start understanding, you know what? I'm going to try to change this. And once you do that, you become in your greatest version. Okay, now, this video is going to be a part one of this particular subject, because there's a lot of other things I want to tell you. But if I was going to tell you everything, I'd literally be here until midnight. And I haven't got that time, because I'm going to do 1 hour and 20 minutes. So don't worry, it's not going to be 1 hour and 20 minutes video. It's only going to be 30 minutes. So this then leads to number 3, which is jealousy. Okay, now, what is jealousy? Okay, then I'm going to do envy, which is number 4. However, let me talk about jealousy first. Okay, a lot of people think jealousy and envy are the same thing. Now, yeah, I can understand why people think that. However, they're not the same thing at all. Now, jealousy is something you've got, okay? It's something you've got, okay? But jealousy is, sorry, I've got an itch on my nose. Jealousy is something that you've got and you fear that you're going to lose it. Okay, then you become jealous of the person that can become fear to you. Okay, let's just example, like say a girl, I apologize that I use girls all the time, but or guy, for instance, I say, he's got a girlfriend, right? Okay, now all of a sudden, if he becomes fearful of losing her, he becomes really jealous. Okay, so that stems from the fear factor, as I told you earlier. So it stems from the reptilian brain telling you, oh my God, fear's coming, I need to do something about it, so let me become jealous. Obviously, people are jealous, they don't even think this way. What I mean by that is they don't even think there's so much conveyor belt in order for that behavior. Because don't forget, vibrations create thoughts. Thoughts create energy. Energy creates manifestation, manifestation creates behavior, and then behavior creates neuroplasticity. Okay, so this is why I said this is going to be part 2 of this video, because there's a lot of information I'd love to tell you, but I don't want to bore you too much, so I'll keep it quite simple. So jealousy is something that people have, and people are jealous because they think they are going to lose it. So I'll just give you an example of a boyfriend or girlfriend that is jealous. Now, let me give you another example. I say, for instance, people at the workplace, right? If they've got a particular position, or if they've got a particular lifestyle, or they've got a particular, say, I don't know, something they've got as I don't know, maybe free time on a Friday or on a Saturday, if they fear to lose that, and if they fear if there's anybody that can cause some disruption to that particular feeling, they will become jealous of this person. Okay, I hope I'm making sense here, because it's very different to envy. Okay, very different to envy. However, some people can hover between the jealousy, envy, backstabbing, and hating. It can hover between all of those 4. And all of those 4 is almost like a condition. Okay, so some people can go through all those 4 conditions within a space of 10 minutes. Some people can go through fucking every minute. You know, sorry, but it is true. Okay, so I apologize for that one. So that's very, very, very true. So now that's jealousy. Now jealousy is something that people say is really bad, but don't forget, it's an unconscious behavior. So if you don't know, say for instance, if you ask me a question right now, Carlos, how many times have you breathed in and out today? I wouldn't be able to tell you. Because why? Because I wasn't counting, because it wasn't a conscious thought. Now it's a subconscious thought, so my subconscious is actually telling my brain, you got to keep survival, so you got to keep breathing. So my literally brain's controlling all that. So it's a subconscious behavior. Now if you guys study the subconscious mind, it's things that you do without even knowing you're doing. Okay, so a lot of this behavior when it becomes chronic, people, I'm sure you guys come across people that are constantly backstabbing people. They're constantly talking about people. They don't talk about anything. Okay, they talk about people constantly, and I'm going to do part 2 is how to deal with these people and how to basically overcome this. So I'll help everyone. So I'll help the guys that feel this way. I'll help the guys that are basically getting that treatment so they know how to overcome that, and I'll help the guys that basically want to become their greatest versions and they're going to stop everything. Okay, I will do part 2 and hopefully it'll be a lot more into depth. So, but as I said, I want to keep it quite informative but not boring too. So this then, from jealousy, then I'm going to link into envy. Now what envy is, if you guys do your own research, is based on something you haven't got but you want it now. So let's say, for instance, you are at work, or let's say I work as an example, and someone's got a better job than you, and you are envy of that person because that person's got that job. You may be better than that person, but that person's got the job, but you haven't. Okay, so automatically you become very envy of that person because you want it now. You don't want to be working for it. What I mean by that is, I'm not saying you wouldn't work for it. What I'm saying is you want it now. So let's say we actually learned this from a very young age when we're kids. So let's say a kid's got a better say toy than the other kid, and all of a sudden that kid becomes manifest a subconscious behavior towards that kid as an envy. He wants it now. He doesn't want to work for it, he wants it now. Okay, very similar to that. So we experience envy like neighbors, for instance. If you got a new car, the neighbor, as a friend of mine said to me the other day, and I'm sure you guys probably watched that video, where then I think I recorded was a haters video, I think it was, and he says the next neighbor, he got a new car, he's great friends with the next door neighbor, then the minute he got a new car, never spoke to him again. So that's envy. Okay, that's a subconscious behavior. Believe it or not, this is obviously adult people, we do this. Now you may ask, why do these people do this, and why can I overcome behaving this way, and how can I help myself living with people like that? I will do part 2, and maybe this will link into part 3. So this is it. Okay, envy is a bad thing. It's really a bad thing because it's something that basically you're dealing with people that want things now. So someone's got a better body. So all of a sudden, I'm envying that guy. I don't want him to look better than me. And what these then people do, they feel inferior to you. Because they feel inferior to you, they automatically feel envy. So envy then links into jealousy, because it's almost like a jealous thing. So it's almost like, oh my god, okay, right, okay, so he's got it and I've got something but he's not as good as him, and then what I then do, I start backstabbing him, okay, and then I start hating him because he's better than me. How dare him? Okay, so that is something that really happens on a daily basis. Now you may find out, you may be at a workplace where there's backstabbers, there's envy people, there's jealousy, there's haters. And sometimes you could have 20 people, say, for instance, right? And all of them go through that pattern every single day. Every single day. I'll give you an example. I had a friend of mine telling me the other day that his workplace is absolutely toxic. And I said, listen, talk to me about your workplace. And he was telling me all these sort of stories about people stabbing each other in the back. And I says, why do you think that is? And he says, Carlos, I don't know. And then when I dived deep into this, he went, do you know what he said to me? He said, Carlos, you got to come to my workplace and actually tell these guys what you just told me. And I said to him, you know what? I will. And I'll do it for charity, okay? Because as you guys know, I do help a lot of charities, and I love doing my share bit to help the homeless and feed the homeless. Every Sunday I do that. But I will actually raise money to help people. And this is helping people becoming their greatest versions while becoming my greatest version. This is what it is. Now, you may say to me, Carlos, say to me, all right, Carlos, so you've explained to me now what it is. How do I deal with this? Okay, now you may ask me, now I'd like you guys to ask me that question, Carlos, so do you feel that way? Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, all those emotions, every single human being have them, but it's how you actually, you know what, guys, I'm just going to show you this. I've got to be careful where I'm walking into and do this power walk. There's loads of bloody cows and bulls everywhere, so I've got to watch it. So I might have to kind of like do a sharp left here in case you probably have no collars anymore next week, so I've got to be careful. So this is my reptilian brain saying, Carlos, get the fuck out, there's fucking some, I'm not scared of cows, but you know, because I've got my camera up here, they might confuse me to actually fucking kill me. But anyway, cut a long story short. So going back to that what I was just saying, it's very important for us to then understand that how to deal with sort of people. And I was just going to ask you, if you ask me the question, Carlos, do you feel that way? Now, from a very young age, I never had those feelings. I've always been very humble, and I've always thought, because I've always had this sort of, if you like, ability not to feel that way. I don't know why. And once I stepped into the spiritual world, and this may freak out some of you guys that are not so spiritual, because I'm an indigo child. I kind of like Google it, what indigo childs are, and I don't want to go too much into detail because this may think, what the hell. So indigo childs are basically spirits being sent into this planet, into this universe, to help others become better. And they come in the form of a lot of different, they come in the form of doctors, trainers, coaches, psychologists. So hence the reason why I tapped into a lot of different of those I just mentioned. So those are nurses, teachers, you name it. Okay, and I actually only found out about 4 years ago that I am an indigo child. Indigo. So have a look at it, do your own research, type it on Google. I didn't know this, but that's from a very young age. I had this sort of like sense of energy, sense of be able to capture the people's energy and trying to help. I'll give you an example. From a very young age, I've always, even at school, I've always helped people that was in need. My mum used to say, why did you do that? I don't know. I've always had this kind of sense of doing that. Don't take me wrong, when I then obviously, as you guys know, I used to play football professionally. So when I got into the sort of fitness side of things, I kind of lost my sense of that, and that stopped tapping into that. But something was bringing me back into start helping people becoming their greatest versions. And this is why I always say becoming greatest versions. And I'm not just saying this because it sounds quirky or it's a new fashion or I've heard that somewhere, so let me tell you. No, I actually mean this. And the guys that work with me know I'm very much that kind of person. I love helping people, and I love actually genuinely helping people from a physical point of view, from a coaching point of view, from a psychological point of view, and actually helping people from all angles. And once you actually see what I do and what I try to do, really, you start really understanding more why I do these videos and why I post so many things, in order to actually help all the areas of us becoming a lot more balanced in our lives. And this then makes a lot more sense to what we're doing now. So what can I say about this? This was a video about haters, was a video about backstabbers, was a video about envy, a video about jealousy, and this then obviously gets all linked. So I hope that was informative. I'm going to do part 2 of this, is how you deal with people like this, because what you'll find is, now that I've told you a couple more things that maybe you weren't aware of, you're going to start looking at haters and backstabbers in a different way, and you're also going to start looking at envy and jealous people in a different way. Maybe you might be the people that actually feel that way, and maybe you are on the other side, which is you're receiving all this. So you start probably analyzing it differently, which is fantastic. This once I actually understood this and looked more into detail about this actually helped me looking at people differently as well, which is great. So which is becoming your greatest version. So I'm going to do part 2 of this video, which is going to be how to deal with haters, how to deal with backstabbers, how to deal with jealousy, and how to deal with envy. So I hope that you're going to like that one too. And then what I'll do is, I'll do part 3, which is how to stop feeling all of those 4 elements. And hopefully that will help you guys out there become a greatest version. So, with all that said, guys, I hope I haven't bored you too much, because it was a bit of a long one. Hope I'm helping you guys. And with all that said, guys, obviously follow me on Instagram, which is Carlos Trainer 10. On my YouTube channel, which is Carlos Trainer, and on my website, which is ultimatefitnesstraining.co.uk. And I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And with all this said, stay happy, stay healthy, stay fit. Have a beautiful day. Take care.